The young boy's left arm was severed by his father when he was 7 years old. The young boy did not know why his father did this. The father said it was necessary for their line of work. It was a matter of life and death. The young boy asked what his father's line of work was. The father pondered for a moment. He said 2 words, body craftsman. But what is a body craftsman? His father did not tell him. The boy's name is Cheng Shan. His parents named him Shan, meaning sympathy and kindness. Cheng Shan is very curious about what his father is doing locked in his room every day. What's strange is that even Cheng Shan's mother never interferes with his father's business. She just takes care of the 3 meals a day. One night, Cheng Shan could not contain his curiosity one night. He poked a small hole in his father's door to peek inside. He saw his father placing his hand on the back of an elderly person, but he didn't know what they were doing. There was no sound coming from inside. At the time, Cheng Shan was still young, thinking that the adults were just drinking tea and chatting. After his father saw off an old man and didn't close the door tightly, Cheng Shan continued to peek through the crack in the door. Suddenly, a hand patted him on the back, frightening him. It turned out to be his mother. His mother told him that his father was busy with something important. His mother clearly knew what was going on but didn't tell him. Just said to wait until he was 12. His father will personally tell him. After his mother left, Cheng Shan continued to peek inside through the crack in the door. Only saw his father gently touch the old man's arm. Then he cut off the arm like cutting tofu, but there was no trace of blood. The arm was covered with a thick sore. With a wave of his hand, the thick sore disappeared. Then miraculously, he reattached the arm to the elderly person. The elderly person touched the arm and marveled at how it was, as if done by divine power. This scene stunned Cheng Shan. Father actually knew long ago that he was standing outside the door peeping. Cheng Shan asked the father if he was a god. Father said he is a body craftsman, specializes in repairing people. Repairing people? Cheng Shan wants to learn repairing people from his father. Father said it's not the right time yet. In the days that followed, Cheng Shan spent every day with books. One day, a few drops of water fell on the book. He thought it was raining and looked up. It turned out that a little girl was sitting on the tree. She was shaking the tree branches, causing the dew to fall. The little girl is named Mingkai, and she often runs to their house to play. As time passed, the two became familiar with each other. Every time, it's like a big man harassing Cheng Shan. Who dares to bully you after that? I will just stab him to death with a willow branch. Although Cheng Shan did not believe that a willow branch could kill someone, he was still very moved. In the blink of an eye, Cheng Shan was already 12 years old. His father asked him if he wanted to become a body craftsman. Cheng Shan answered without hesitation that he was willing. Then his father handed him an ancient book, saying that it was left by their ancestor, and told him to take good care of it. Cheng Shan was exceptionally talented. He quickly mastered the mysterious techniques in the book. But the last pages of the book were incomplete. He felt as though there was another chapter at the end. One day, the father wanted to test his son's learning. He asked how many chapters were in the book, and Cheng Shan said 11 chapters. What is the 6th chapter about? Cheng Shan said it's about bone detach skill. I see. The father took out a celadone bowl to test if he could perform the bone detach skill. Cheng Shan gently pressed a joint of his index finger with his middle finger. A finger bone fell into the bowl. Then he lightly moved his middle finger, and the bone returned to his body. The father was very satisfied and instructed him that a body craftsman can repair people or kill them. If a body craftsman has ill intentions, they may deprive others of their organs. Taking lives has been done since ancient times. Let him bring his own umbrella when he leaves home in the future, so that he can be recognized by other body craftsmen. After saying that, Cheng Shan closed his eyes. His father used his thumbs to stroke over Cheng Shan's eyes and said that this was the last move he taught him. When Cheng Shan opened his eyes, he found that his vision had become more acute. He could even see the skeletons of the birds on the trees. However, his father mysteriously disappeared. He asked his mother many times, but she always said that his father had gone to a far, far away place. When his mother told him that his father would not be coming back, impulsive Cheng Shan immediately wanted to go out and look for his father. The mother, however, said the same thing as the father. Cheng Shan was very impatient. Why did they always say this? It's as if they had everything planned out for him. But the mother reminded him to remember the family rules. With a kind heart, Cheng Shan tried to find the answer. He started to repeatedly read the ancestral book, wanting to see what exactly was in the 12th chapter. He inferred from fragments of words that some techniques required the use of both hands. Then he remembered that he had lost his left hand long ago. He could only hang his head in resignation and close the book. As soon as he lifted his head, Ming Kai appeared before his eyes. The girl knelt on his desk at some point, clamoring to see the umbrella left to him by his father. Cheng Shan refused. Ming Kai then grabbed his neck, asking him to demonstrate his skill as a body craftsman. Cheng Shan sighed. You won't regret it. Then his palm slid down her face along her eyes. Ming Kai's eyes suddenly disappeared. Hearing her wailing, She urged Cheng Shan to quickly fix them back. Since then, when Ming Kai came to bother him, she would not mention anything about the body craftsman. With Ming Kai by his side, 4 years passed in the blink of an eye. During this time, every time he wanted to discuss going out to explore with his mother, he was always discouraged. Just as he turned 16, that morning he was practicing calligraphy in the study. His mother stood at the door holding a long black tube. Mother walked over and said, "Cheng Shan, you are 16 years old. I'll give you this long tube. Inside there is an umbrella handle, a letter, and a piece of jade. I don't understand the use of these items. I only know the old saying. In times of danger, open the umbrella. When meeting old friends, hold the jade. When you reach a certain state, read the letter." After speaking, Mother burst into tears. When bidding farewell to Cheng Shan, the mother unexpectedly bowed deeply towards him. Then she turned away, saying she would miss him a lot, but not allowing him to come back home again. Cheng Shan, who had mastered the art of body craftsman, finally set out on his adventurous journey. The girl Ming Kai followed along. The girl touched the sword at her side and said, "Where are you going? I will accompany you, and my sword will accompany you as well." Cheng Shan said he is going to the capital. This girl is very excited. She casually said it would be best to encounter bandits and thieves. She is sure to show her skills. But as soon as she said that, she really encountered a group of bandits, and Cheng Shan covered his forehead. This girl really has a jinx. The leader of the bandits is very arrogant. Hand over the most valuable thing. Leave the little girl. Ming Kai quickly caught his body. The leader of the bandits pointed at Cheng Shan and issued a threat. Let him kowtow 3 times, and then let him go. Looking at these shameless bandits, Ming Kai immediately wanted to draw his sword and kill these evil bandits. But Cheng Shan stopped him, saying she was afraid her hands would get dirty. Then he took out the umbrella that his father had left for him from the long tube on his back. The red-trimmed, ink-colored umbrella immediately unfurled complex runes on top of it. The moment the leader of the mountain bandits saw the umbrella, he broke out in a cold sweat. The rune in the umbrella seems to be constantly twisting, as if it can absorb one's mind. The bandit leader holding a wolf-tooth club thinks that Cheng Shan is just putting on airs. Ignoring the advice of the big boss, he rushed towards Cheng Shan. Then a painful scream was heard. Only saw the second leader of the bandits kneeling on the ground, convulsing in unbearable pain. Cheng Shan had a cold and stern expression, not saying a word. The third leader of the mountain bandits wanted to make a move, but was stopped by the main leader. Because the main leader of the bandits had already recognized that this was the black umbrella of the Cheng family. As long as they got closer, they would turn into a pile of mud. Cheng Shan kindly put away the black umbrella. The main leader of the bandits immediately changed his tone and smiled apologetically. "Young Master Cheng, it is said that there is evil activity in the capital. Why are you going there?" Ming Kai took over and reprimanded him with a word. The bandit quickly nodded and stopped being so talkative. Cheng Shan waved his hand and said, "I heard that the emperor is looking for talented people from all over the world. The reward is generous. I will go there to find a job." The chief of the bandits replied, "My young master, the Cheng family doesn't need to find a job." After saying this, he immediately regretted it, breaking out in a cold sweat. Fortunately, Cheng Shan did not take offense. Later, he and Ming Kai found an inn. Ming Kai is still feeling aggrieved about the incident earlier, saying that if she had taken action, she would have wiped out those bandits in an instant. Cheng Shan can only utter some words of surrender. "You really have a sharp tongue." Ming Kai glanced at his black long tube. He wanted him to open the umbrella for a performance, but Cheng Shan refused. Because opening it casually could hurt someone. Ming Kai remembered the Cheng family repairman's extraordinary skills, who could easily change a person's appearance. Cheng Shan understood the girl's intentions. However, he suggested that she draw a picture for him and opened the umbrella to show her. Ming Kai claimed to be the best martial artist painter and the best swordsman in painting skills. Dealing with this little matter is certainly not a problem for him. Ming Kai raised his pen, giving the impression he was going to draw Cheng Shan. But Cheng Shan said that he didn't want to be drawn. He wanted to see Ming Kai draw herself. Ming Kai blushed with shyness, but still followed his request. Quietly started to draw. Not long after, Ming Kai had finished the painting. Cheng Shan walked in and couldn't help but be amazed and in awe. It's really so lifelike. The little girl is indeed very pleased. After all, she painted herself. It's hard not to look alike. Cheng Shan is a bit puzzled. Previously, he thought that this girl's paintings of mountains, waters, and buildings were flat, dull, and tasteless. But now he finds that her paintings of living things are vivid and indescribably wonderful.
Ming Kai smiled proudly.
Because things with souls can be painted the best. Under Ming Kai's prompting, the two finally arrived at the gate of the palace. Cheng Shan's memory of the emperor only stayed within the image he saw. And the most memorable thing was the poem written by the emperor. The phrase, "The land is embroidered with prosperity, and the world is filled with heroes' wishes." The meaning of enro The emperor's name is the hero's wishes. Enrui summoned the two of them to a side hall outside the palace. But Cheng Shan's expression remained unchanged, because he simply doesn't care about Enrui's world. But Ming Kai, the girl, dared to speak in front of the emperor, saying that he was much more approachable than he appeared in his portrait. When Enrui heard this, she just smiled and said it was okay. She also felt honored to be able to meet the legendary Cheng family in person. Cheng Shan naturally does not dare to take it seriously, as the emperor is the son of heaven. It is the greatest fortune for the common people. Enrui touched the clasp in his hand and smiled. I am a person who appreciates talent. To encounter such talented individuals is indeed my good fortune. Later, Enrui instructed the maid Wen Liang to arrange accommodations for the two ability users Cheng Shan. After kneeling to the emperor, Ming Kai let out a long sigh. The pressure she had just been under was quite significant. After recovering her strength, this girl became lively again. After all, the emperor had just said that the two of them were ability users. Cheng Shan appeared to be accommodating to the little girl, but she felt puzzled by the emperor's behavior. Could it be that Enrui knew in advance that she would come? Is he specifically summoning her? He couldn't figure out why he, with his own abilities and qualities, would attract the emperor's attention. Wen Liang seemed to see what he was thinking. He quickly explained that the emperor's actions have always defied common sense. Cheng Shan casually glanced at her right shoulder. He noticed that she seemed to have suffered a serious injury, but he remained silent. It's better to be cautious in the palace. The residence Wen Liang took them to is called Ability User House, and she is the head maid there. Along the way, Ming Kai keenly sensed the aura unique to this palace. Wen Liang smiled and praised that this girl had good taste, because every plant and tree in this palace garden is carefully tended to. The girl suddenly felt playful, tugging on Cheng Shan's sleeve and suggesting that Wen Liang take them around for a walk. Cheng Shan vetoed the idea again. The girl had no choice but to give up. Looking at this interesting couple, Wen Liang couldn't help but laugh out loud. He couldn't help but feel that the emperor hadn't been this happy for a long time. Guessing that Cheng Shan is definitely not an ordinary person, Cheng Shan immediately modestly introduced himself. After learning that Cheng Shan is a body craftsman, this maidservant surprisingly managed to reveal quite a lot of information about the body craftsman. Wen Liang suddenly stopped in his tracks. Two sirs, you must have heard about the recent notorious villain causing trouble in the capital, right? It is said that the villain in the capital specifically targets strong men and beautiful girls in the city to make body molds. With those, one can clearly distinguish the skin, flesh, bones, heart, liver, spleen, and lungs of a person. Wen Liang initially didn't know what kind of evil method this body mold was. After hearing that Cheng Shan is a body craftsman, she combined what she knew and guessed that this evil technique should also be a body craftsman's skill. Ming Kai was stunned on the spot because Cheng Shan had told her about this body mold when they were younger. Body mold is one of several ancient punishments abolished in the Cheng family. It was used to punish clan members who violated family rules. The methods were deemed too cruel. With the Cheng family retreating from the martial world, it has long been abolished. But now if a body craftsman uses this ancient punishment to harm innocent people, then that person can indeed be called a great evildoer. After this short episode, several people arrived at the outskirts of the ability user house. Wen Liang cautioned the two people that even if they were staying here, they should be extra careful. There are rumors that the palace is also not peaceful lately. Wen Liang seemed hesitant to say too much due to his identity. Under Wen Liang's guidance, they walked quietly all the way, and Cheng Shan suddenly discovered something. The cheerful girl who is usually lively has become gloomy. The young girl grasped the sword at her waist and murmured softly, "After entering here, I always feel very oppressed. I feel very uncomfortable in my heart," and Cheng Shan holds her hand. "Tell her not to worry." With him around, Wen Liang noticed the girl's discomfort. He quickly explained that it was a common reaction for newcomers entering the ability user house. She would get used to it soon. He then explained to the two of them the rules set by the emperor for the ability user house. There are two rules in the ability user house. The first one is that ability users are not allowed to meet each other casually. But since Cheng Shan and the other person arrived at the same time, it's fine for them to meet. Secondly, entry and exit to the ability user house requires the permission of the guards. Escaping and sneaking in without authorization are serious crimes, said Wen Liang. After speaking, he took out two passes and handed them to the visitors. After giving some instructions, he prepared to leave. It is said that one should not inquire casually about the hidden affairs within the palace. Cheng Shan still expressed his doubts. Earlier, my sister mentioned that there were disturbances in the palace. Do you know who dares to cause trouble and rebellion? Wen Liang was surprised at the words and couldn't help but take a step back. Seems to know something, but it's better to advise him not to know. Ming Kai saw the situation and stepped forward to comfort her. Sister, don't worry too much. If there are difficulties, we won't insist. Wen Liang's heart seemed to be moved. Ming Kai took the opportunity to invite her into the house to chat. Just as Cheng Shan was about to push the door, when Liang stopped him. After hesitating for a moment, he decided to tell the truth. It turns out there is a house called Disabled Person House in the capital. It houses only elderly people with one eye, four-legged witches, and mouthless alien children. And this is just one of them. There are rumors in the palace that someone has threatened to turn people into tables and chairs. Cheng Shan and Ming Kai understood as soon as they heard it, knowing for sure that this matter was definitely not just a baseless guess. The two of them had a rough idea in their hearts. Most likely, it was also the work of the body craftsman. Cheng Shan quickly reassured Wen Liang that this was all just a case of people passing on false information. Those individuals just happened to have naturally strange looks. After Wen Liang left, Ming Kai asked Cheng Shan whether the body craftsman could really turn people into tables and chairs. Cheng Shan nodded and said that hollowing out the table and chairs, then cutting and softening the person to inject into them, or shedding the person's skin and implanting it into them, would be very difficult. It would require the flesh and blood vessels to grow together with the furniture. Both methods are extremely difficult and would not prolong the person's life by much. At this point, a surge of anger rose in Cheng Shan's heart. What kind of person would do such abominable and morally wrong things? That night, Cheng Shan had a dream. In the dream, the sound of a drum beating was heard. He followed the sound. He saw a white-haired young man crouching on the ground with his back to him. He went over and patted him on the back. This young man. As soon as he spoke, the young man stopped crying. The tambourine in his hand also stopped shaking. Cheng Shan was about to ask another question when the young man suddenly turned his head. Cheng Shan was scared and immediately let go and stepped back, only to see that the young man's eyes were hollow. In the end, he actually showed a sinister smile towards him, and his whole face began to melt. Cheng Shan was so scared that he sat up abruptly and screamed. Only then did he realize he was dreaming. But the dream was too real. Cheng Shan still nervously swallowed saliva. Unconsciously, he gripped the blanket tightly. Ming Kai, the girl, heard his voice. She poked her head into the room and asked what had happened. Cheng Shan replied that he had a nightmare. But seeing Ming Kai's outfit today did help improve his mood. Although Ming Kai feels a little embarrassed, he admits the fact that he looks good in anything due to his natural beauty. Seeing Cheng Shan lost in thought again, Ming Kai called out to him. He heard him muttering, "Disabled person house." He pulled back the covers on him and said that instead of worrying like a girl, they might as well go and see if that rumored disabled person house really exists. But Cheng Shan had no intention of taking her there. Ming Kai was a little disappointed. Cheng Shan explained that the situation in the palace was still unclear, and he had the black umbrella with him, so he didn't want Ming Kai to take any risks by following along. Ming Kai made a pretend agreement with a snort. After this guy left, she chuckled to herself. It was agreed in the beginning that she and her sword would always accompany Cheng Shan. The skills of the body craftsman are simply amazing and admirable. This move uses eyeballs instead of aerial cameras. It is the body craftsman's technique called Link to the Sky. It was dark and windy, and it was already the time of the dog hour, 7 to 9 p.m. Cheng Shan's figure appeared at the exit of the ability user house. However, there were still many guards guarding the place. Cheng Shan had no martial skills on him. It seemed difficult for him to leave. Just as he was thinking about taking out the black umbrella, only a few cold glints flashed by. The guards have already been knocked unconscious. Cheng Shan stood still in shock. How did this girl follow here? After a short while, Ming Kai had already taken care of all the guards. Cheng Shan grumbled. "I'm telling you, Ming, this is a mess.
Ming Kai Rito.
Why bother about so much, as long as this lady is happy? You don't know how many people I charmed just now." After boasting, Ming Kai asked Cheng Shan how to get to the disabled person house. Cheng Shan replied, "Don't worry about it." Covered his right eye with his right hand. Ming Kai didn't know what this guy was up to, only to see that in the palm of his hand was his eyeball. With Cheng Shan's control, the eyeball slowly flew up into the sky. Suddenly, all the terrain inside the palace was in full view. This move is the one mentioned at the beginning called Link to the Sky. Ming Kai was surprised and asked Cheng Shan, "Aren't you afraid of not being able to find the eyeball?" Cheng Shan replied, "Usually not. This technique, while concise, excels in practicality." After finding the way, he moved his fingers, and the eyeball returned to his body. The two of them sneaked along the way, only hearing the hoot of an owl. But they didn't see any sign of people, which made Cheng Shan alert. Soon, the two of them had reached the entrance of the disabled person house. Only a red lantern hung in front of the door. It looked quite scary. Ming Kai, this girl does have quite the courage. She was about to go inside to explore right away. Just as her footsteps were about to step in, Cheng Shan suddenly stopped her. He noticed something approaching ahead. It seemed like something was wriggling on the ground, making a rustling sound as it rubbed against the ground. The thing also made a creaking sound. As the thing got closer, it turned out to be a living creature, its shape resembling that of a sheep or a horse. Standing on all fours, Ming-Kai was stunned. She had never seen such a strange creature before. Cheng Shan immediately broke out in a cold sweat. This was not some animal, but a human. From the characteristics, it was an elderly person. The old person crawled in front of the two people and made a whimpering sound. Immediately took 2 steps back. Cheng Shan immediately walked up to him. The old person. You don't have to be afraid. I mean no harm. Then squatted down. Gently brushed the old man's neck. Then brushed the old man's nose and mouth. Then told the old man he could raise his head to speak. The old man just opened his mouth and said thank you. Then he started coughing violently. It seemed like he hadn't spoken for a long time. Cheng Shan lightly patted the old man's back. With this pat, he found that the old man's body was already in a state of turmoil. He took a deep breath. I wonder what this old man has been relying on to live until now. In order to facilitate the inquiry, Cheng Shan asked the old man to just nod or shake his head. Cheng Shan had just stood up. The old man nodded, indicating his agreement with this method of questioning. Cheng Shan asked if it was the people in the palace who turned him into this state. The old man nodded. Then he asked if the old man had seen the appearance of that person, and the old man shook his head. Finally, Cheng Shan asked if it had been 5 years since the old man had turned into this state. The old man said a sentence, and after he finished, his body couldn't help but tremble uncontrollably. He must have recalled those days of persecution. Ming-Kai felt sorry and couldn't bear to let Cheng Shan ask any more. He said not to ask any more, but the old man refused. Cheng Shan raised his head and glanced at the bright moon in the sky. He casually asked, "Old man, did you come out to admire the moonlight?" The old man stretched out his hand, opening his 5 fingers. I'm not sure if he was facing Cheng Shan or the moon. Made a touching gesture, then nodded and indicated he was facing Cheng Shan. Finally, he asked the old man if he had any other wishes. The old man unexpectedly showed a faint smile. He spoke intermittently, saying a few words, "Grant me death." In fact, Cheng Shan had already guessed his wish. As soon as the old man finished speaking, he took out a black umbrella. Ming-Kai, who was unaware of the situation, grabbed his hand. Cheng Shan asked her to let go, but Ming-Kai held on tightly. She believed that even if the old man was injured so badly, he shouldn't seek death. Cheng Shan told Ming-Kai that the old man had no chance of survival anymore. Even with the skills of his father, he might not be able to save the old man. Keeping the old man here would only make him suffer more. Ming-Kai couldn't bear to treat an old man like this. Before she could speak, the old man shook his head, exerted all his strength to say thank you to Ming-Kai. Ming-Kai knew that the old man had made up his mind, so she stopped trying to stop Cheng Shan, although she felt very uneasy. Cheng Shan asked Ming-Kai to step back 10 paces and turn around because what was about to happen would be too cruel for her. Then he opened the black umbrella. The old man lifted his head to look at Cheng Shan. As they locked eyes, the old man's body slowly dissolved under the cover of the black umbrella until it turned into a puddle of blood. Cheng Shan put away the black umbrella. Suddenly, he understood the meaning behind the old man's gaze. Born without joy, seeking happiness in death. At that moment, there was a sound behind Ming-Kai. She shouted, "Who's there?" It turned out to be Wen Liang hiding in the bushes. Both were puzzled as to why Wen Liang had come there. Wen Liang explained that he heard someone had escaped from the ability user house and decided to try his luck here, only to witness the scene that had just unfolded. After saying this, she held her hands together in fear and started trembling. Cheng Shan reassured her not to be afraid, saying that the black umbrella in his hand wouldn't harm anyone at will. The young girl took the opportunity to speak up, telling her sister not to worry. She said, "Cheng Shan is even more timid than us. We should be afraid of him instead." Wen Liang, who had calmed down, actually thought that the two of them had done a good deed. However, they had violated the rules of the ability user house and also injured a guard. Wen Liang told the two to hurry back. She would plead their case in front of the emperor. With Wen Liang saying that, Ming-Kai pulled Cheng Shan over and carried him on his shoulders, flying to the wall. Ignoring Cheng Shan's cursing, he thanked Wen Liang and then disappeared into the night. After returning from the disabled person house, Cheng Shan and Ming-Kai were confined to the ability user house. Seeing the young girl about to lose her temper, Cheng Shan told her to calm down. At that moment, the door was pushed open. The emperor held Cheng Shan in high regard, as he had not pursued the matter from last time. It turned out that Wen Liang had come to visit the two of them on the emperor's orders. Furthermore, they were pardoned for the incidents at the disabled person house. However, the emperor will summon Cheng Shan to the royal study tomorrow morning. Moreover, only he can go there alone. Upon hearing this, Ming-Kai became unhappy and insisted on going along as well. Cheng Shan was worried about her safety and didn't want to take her along. The little girl was also equally worried about him. She even boasted that even if she slept to death, no one could harm her in the slightest. Also complained that Cheng Shan has been silly since childhood. She would be bullied by her sooner or later, mentioning this matter. Cheng Shan fell into the memory of 8 years ago again. That morning, Cheng Shan ran out of breath into the woods. He thought he had escaped the girl's entanglement. Before catching his breath, the girl flew from behind and pressed him down on the grass for a rub. After the girl let him go, she saw Cheng Shan with a mouthful of mud and grass. She joked that he looked like a dog that had fallen and gnawed on mud. With a face full of mud and grass, he looked like a little turtle, taking advantage of the girl's laughter to relax her guard. Cheng Shan pointed a finger at her brow. The laughter suddenly stopped. Then he pointed to her neck and wrists. The little girl lay still in the bushes, unable to move. The little girl then anxiously asked him what he had done to her. Cheng Shan revealed a smug smile. Nothing, just let your meridians flow slowly. Limbs are numb already. The little girl initially screamed that she was being unfair. In the end, she softened and asked Cheng Shan to untie her. The little girl said she would never bully him again. The chirping of a pair of birds in the tree interrupted Cheng Shan's memories. The next morning, the girl still couldn't rest assured. Cheng Shan said that he had Black Umbrella with him, so there was no need to worry too much. He casually pushed the girl onto the chair. The girl said that they had a lot of people on their side, but he was standing alone. Cheng Shan told her that everything in this world has causes and consequences, and that the old people at Disabled Person House were suffering because of what body craftsmen had done. As the descendant of the body craftsman lineage, he really cannot remain indifferent. All of this can only be ended by him. He gently stroked the little girl's head, comforting her that he must go to the emperor himself to confirm this matter. The little girl, seeing his unusual persistence, could only agree not to go with him. When Liang stood outside the door and listened to their conversation, he then walked into the room to confirm that they had already discussed it. Let Cheng Shan follow him. Not long after, Cheng Shan followed when Liang through the backyard. They arrived in front of the royal study. When Liang knocked on the door, Lord Cheng Shan has arrived. Enrui set down the book in his hand. Let him in. After the two entered, Enrui asked Wen Liang to leave. After Wen Liang left, Cheng Shan was left alone to face the emperor. Enrui looked at Cheng Shan with great interest. Cheng Shan also did not speak proactively. Enrui chuckled coldly, then stood up. Walked up to him, Cheng Shan saluted. Not saluting when seeing the emperor. You really have guts. Although Cheng Shan was forced to take a step back by his momentum, but he was not timid at all. The emperor is wise, just calling for the common people to come. I'm afraid it's not just to hear a respectful greeting to the emperor, right? Enrui's expression suddenly became cold and sharp. He chuckled, looking at Cheng Shan's tightly clenched fist. He patted his shoulder to indicate that he didn't have to be so nervous, then asked if he was comfortable living in the palace in recent days. Cheng Shan said it was fairly comfortable. It's just that the days were too easy, which led to many bad habits. Enrui couldn't help but detect the hidden meaning in his words, so she took the opportunity to ask him to accompany her for a walk around. The two walked in the garden, one in front and one behind. Suddenly, Enrui stopped in her tracks, turned around, and asked, Cheng Shan, the one behind you must be the Black Umbrella of the Cheng family, right? You were able to open the Cheng family's Black Umbrella with one hand at the age of 16. Obviously, you have extraordinary talent. Cheng Shan did not deny it. And it was precisely for this reason that Cheng Shan broke the rules of the palace before. That's why Enrui didn't punish him. Cheng Shan naturally had to say a few polite words. Enrui actually didn't care at all. His real purpose this time was to take Cheng Shan to a place. Show him something interesting. The two quickly arrived at a corridor. This corridor gave Cheng Shan a sense of familiarity. It seemed like it could extend to anywhere. He was a little puzzled. Someone like Enrui, who held power over the world, actually had a treasure that he cherished and wanted to share with others. Little did he know that this was a trap set by Enrui for him. Soon, Enrui stood in front of a golden and black carved door. He pushed open the door, saying that inside were all his treasures. Cheng Shan saw these so-called treasures. He felt very strange, although these objects were very exquisite, but they were all just ordinary things. There was no extravagance and splendor of the royal style at all. The value of everything put together couldn't even compare to that golden and black carved door. But there was an indescribable sense of unease inside the room. This feeling made him very uncomfortable. Unconsciously, he reached out for a porcelain vase. The moment his hand touched it, a heartbeat sound spread throughout his body instantly from the vase. Cheng Shan only felt a buzzing in his head. He took a step back and almost fell. The back of his heel accidentally hit a jar. There was another ouch sound from inside. Cheng Shan covered his mouth and tears welled up in his eyes. Realizing he had lost control, Cheng Shan quickly wiped away the tears and dropped his hand. Enrui looked at him playfully with a wooden box in her hand. My beloved subordinate, have you discovered the secret of my treasure room? Cheng Shan, even though filled with anger, could only suppress it. Pretended not to know. Enrui touched the armrest of the chair beside him. Then he sat down. He was, of course, aware that Cheng Shan knew the truth, but he didn't expose it. Cheng Shan really couldn't continue to stay any longer. He made an excuse of feeling unwell and prepared to leave. Enrui didn't force him to stay either. Cheng Shan said a polite remark. He hadn't walked a few steps before being called back by Enrui. Cheng Shan, you are exceptionally talented. As long as you stay by my side, you will one day achieve great success. Cheng Shan sneered coldly. Without looking back, he said, "Thank you, master, for your grace," and quickly walked out of the treasure room. Can you imagine? The treasure in that room turned out to be all made by living people. Cheng Shan returned to the ability user house that day and fell seriously ill. Even though Ming Kai took good care of him diligently every day, whenever he thought of Rui's treasure house, it felt like a knife twisting in his heart and chilling his bones. He had a premonition. If this great evil in the palace is left unchecked, sooner or later, it will turn him and Ming Kai into ashes. On this day, Ming Kai sat by his bedside again. Holding a bowl of medicinal soup, she asked him to open his mouth. Even Ming Kai's hands are getting tired. This guy still can't bear to lose face and open his mouth. Cheng Shan couldn't stand the girl's ambiguous expression. He reached out and covered her face. At least finish this medicine. Cheng Shan said he would drink it himself. The little girl is not happy. She feels like a wronged young bride. Someone kindly served her, but this guy is ungrateful. Cheng Shan sighed helplessly and looked at her affectionately. She was so flustered that her little face turned red. Hurry up and stay away from her. Asked Cheng Shan why he suddenly looked at her so disgustingly. Cheng Shan said he figured it out, then got off the bed. He finished dressing and continued, "In the vast world, I am just a piece of rubble, a mud puddle, a chess piece. I did my best to stir up this pond, but it's just dead water with a slight ripple. The world is full of evil as vast as the sea of smoke. I can't touch it and I am powerless." Speaking of this, his eyes became unusually firm. But this chaos and great evil exist in the imperial capital, in the deep palace, right before my eyes. I, Cheng Shan, absolutely cannot ignore this. After saying this, he tightly clenched his fist and couldn't calm down for a long time. The girl was stunned by Cheng Shan's words. She never expected that such a weak person would have such great aspirations. Cheng Shan decided to visit the disabled person house again tonight. He believed that there must be clues to solving the mystery there. When Cheng Shan said this, the girl had already been cleaning the sword blade. After all, with his limited ideas, how could the little girl not know? It's already late at night. The guards outside the ability user house are patrolling. The two of them are prepared. Cheng Shan tells the little girl that the guards change shifts during the ugly time. There is only one person outside. As long as their blood can touch the guard will lose their fighting ability. Then it will be their chance to escape. Cheng Shan still seems worried, saying that if the plan fails, the little girl should go first and not worry about him. The little girl turns her head and giggles, saying that Cheng Shan is very nervous. After all, the little girl knows him since childhood. Whenever he gets nervous, he talks a lot. Cheng Shan wants to argue, but the little girl can't help but tease him. Nevertheless, she reassures him. As long as they are together, there is no obstacle they can't overcome. While chatting, the two have already reached the ugly time. Cheng Shan drips his blood onto the prepared cloth. After the little girl puts it on, she jumps out of the window with a twist. They hear two thuds. Cheng Shan takes a look and can't help but swear. The guard at the door is lying on the ground. Whether alive or dead is unknown. It turns out that when the little girl just went out, she encountered this guard and then went a bit heavy-handed. Cheng Shan breathes a sigh of relief and lightly taps her head, telling her to be more careful next time. Then the two of them leave the ability user house and arrive at the entrance of the disabled person house. Just as the little girl is about to go in, Cheng Shan suddenly pulls her back. The little girl is puzzled, but Cheng Shan tells her not to make a sound. He has discovered that there are people inside and they should not enter recklessly. As expected, voices from inside are heard. They see a skinny person being held by a guard. The guard in front reminds him to be careful because this is a piece favored by the emperor. If it's damaged, heads will roll. Then several strangely shaped individuals are brought out of the disabled person house. The two people hiding in the dark are completely stunned to see this scene. It turns out that this is the truth of the disabled person house. They have been tortured beyond recognition. Cheng Shan sees one person, half of his body in a pottery jar. That person seems to feel someone is watching him. He turns his head towards the direction where Cheng Shan is hiding. Cheng Shan breaks out in a cold sweat. This person is exactly the young man he dreamed about before. The young man just glanced elsewhere and received a lash from the guard. The young girl couldn't bear to see this tragic situation. She immediately wanted to draw her sword and charge forward, but Cheng Shan stopped her. The young girl's emotions were very excited and angry. Cheng Shan is also in the same situation. It's just that going out now would cause all the previous efforts to fail. He firmly pressed the young girl's shoulder to make her calm down. She then withdrew her sword until the guards left. The two of them entered the disabled person house again. Cheng Shan advised the young girl not to rush in because it was dim inside, and they didn't know what dangers might lurk. Cheng Shan immediately activated the unique sharp vision of a body craftsman and examined the surroundings. Inside, although there were only some stone bricks and trees, Cheng Shan couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Just then, the young girl panicked and grabbed his hand, saying she could hear a heartbeat beneath the brick floor. Cheng Shan believed her, considering she was skilled in martial arts and sensitive to heart rates and pulses. He touched the ground with his hand but heard no sound. Moving his hand forward, this time he did hear it. However, he felt an overwhelming sense of horror and even subconsciously swallowed. Suddenly, traces of blood seeped out from the ground, where flesh and soil seemed to be growing together, like roots hidden in the earth. These eerie things seemed to sense Cheng Shan's presence and began to stir. When Ming Kai saw him standing still, she asked what was underground. At that moment, the bricks on the ground had already been arched up, and those things were about to break through the earth. Ming Kai quickly drew her sword, ready to defend herself. The whole disabled person house echoed with empty and gnawing sounds. Cheng Shan finally came to his senses and urged Ming Kai to retreat quickly. Countless twisted arms shot out from the ground at lightning speed, grabbing hold of Cheng Shan. Ming Kai wielded her sword to fend off the arms' attacks as they multiplied. But as more arms emerged, Ming Kai began to struggle. Suddenly, several hands grabbed her ankle, tearing her skin instantly as she screamed in pain. Cheng Shan warned Ming Kai not to let the blood splattered by the arms touch her because it contained the blood of a body craftsman capable of melting bones and draining blood. By then, Ming Kai had been caught and dragged underground. Cheng Shan used the skills of a body craftsman to quickly sever the arms holding him captive. Just as Ming Kai was about to be consumed, Cheng Shan used the bone-detach skill to force back the arms and pull her out. Finally, Cheng Shan escaped the disabled person house with Ming Kai on his back. However, Ming Kai's bones were already shattered, and she was rapidly losing blood. She weighed as light as paper on his back. Ming Kai, mustering her strength, told him she regretted not being able to accompany him longer. Cheng Shan advised her not to waste her strength talking as his body continued to tremble uncontrollably. Unconsciously, memories of Ming Kai's cheerful appearance from childhood came to mind. Cheng Shan said he could fix her. He claimed to be the only descendant of the Cheng family. He is the one known to possess the black umbrella that makes everyone's face pale upon hearing about it. Memories of childhood flashed through his mind once again. He once boasted in front of Ming Kai, "There is no one in this world that I, Cheng Shan, cannot fix." To prevent Ming Kai from falling asleep, Cheng Shan said that one day when they got tired of staying in the palace, he would take her to the Central Plains. There were heroes and brave people like her there. However, there were also many bandits, so they would need her and her sword to protect themselves. Ming Kai laughed and said, "Carry me on your back. I'm so tired of being carried around. Put me down so I can rest for a bit." Cheng Shan had no choice but to put Ming Kai down, continuously rubbing her little face. Ming Kai hung her head and cried, not daring to look up at her. Ming Kai then teased, "Look at that silly look on your face. Did you see that I've lost a lot of blood?" "You scared me." Cheng Shan said nothing, only unbuttoned her clothes. Ming Kai continued, "It's been a long time since I saw you cry. From now on, I won't be able to resist teasing you." After saying that, she laughed a bit, then started coughing violently. Cheng Shan actually left home that day. Just wanted to be with this girl. On such a moonlit night, they wanted to talk and share their hearts. But he didn't expect the situation to turn out this way. Cheng Shan kept transferring his body craftsman blood into Ming Kai, but couldn't stop the wound. Ming Kai held his hand, preventing him from continuing. Cheng Shan felt like a failure for the first time, unable to protect his beloved. Ming Kai touched his face and said, "Look at you. You are naturally weak while I practice martial arts. We complement each other." Cheng Shan held her in his arms and said, "You will be fine. We are yin and yang, strong and gentle." Before he could finish speaking, Ming Kai's hand had already dropped. Cheng Shan couldn't accept this outcome. He merged his hand into her body, constantly transfusing blood into the young girl. As long as he had a breath left in him, Cheng Shan wouldn't give up. He would never stand by and watch his beloved leave him like that. It lasted until the next day when Cheng Shan's hair turned white overnight. Suddenly, footsteps could be heard in the distance. Cheng Shan looked up and saw that the person approaching was Wen Liang. Wen Liang couldn't believe that the person in front of him was Cheng Shan. Cheng Shan mustered up his last bit of strength and said 3 words. "Save Ming Kai." Wen Liang took over Ming Kai, surprised. How could Master Ming Kai be as light as a wisp of willow? Cheng Shan could no longer support himself and fell to the ground. At the moment he fell, he wanted to say that human life is indeed a fragile thing like a wisp of willow, but he had no strength to speak. Cheng Shan didn't know how he returned to the summer when he was 7 years old. Ming Kai came to play with him very early. He looked like he hadn't woken up yet. Her little hand waved in front of Cheng Shan. "Is she still asleep?" Why are you so dazed? Cheng Shan said he had a nightmare. Ming Kai couldn't help but comment again. You should pay attention. You are already slow enough. In the evening, Ming Kai sat on the wall and asked Cheng Shan to come up quickly to see something good. However, Cheng Shan couldn't climb up no matter what. Ming Kai sighed and said, "Oh, clumsy, I really can't do anything with you." She had to jump down and squat down so he could climb on her back. Ming Kai urged him for a while before he blushed and finally rode on her neck. After climbing the wall, they looked at the distant sea of lights. He couldn't take his eyes off it. It was the flying sky lanterns, representing the wishes of countless people. Ming Kai said the ones in the capital are much more spectacular than this rural area, just like the countless stars in the sky. After saying that, she had a look of yearning on her face. Cheng Shan immediately vowed to go to the capital when he grows up. Ming Kai laughed and said he would need to work hard and practice martial arts. Cheng Shan asked why, and Ming Kai looked disdainful. You can't even climb a wall. Do you dare venture out alone? Seeing Cheng Shan speechless in frustration, Ming Kai patted him and said, Wherever you go in the future, I will accompany you. In the blink of an eye, it was the year they turned 12. The two of them lay on the grass, feeling the breeze. Ming Kai found the sunlight too dazzling. She picked up a straw hat and covered her face with it, then fell silent. Cheng Shan called her several times, but she didn't respond. Suddenly, in Cheng Shan's mind flashed an image of Ming Kai shouting for help. He quickly took off his straw hat. He reached out to check Ming Kai's breathing and found that there was nothing wrong. Just as his hand touched Ming Kai's face, the image of Ming Kai on the brink of death flashed before him again. Suddenly, Ming Kai's whole body kept oozing blood. Cheng Shan finally woke up. It was just another dream when he sat up from the bed. In a daze, he saw the shadow of Ming Kai. Instinctively, he called out Ming Kai. At this moment, when Liang walked in from outside with a basin for washing his face. Mr. Cheng Shan, you're awake, said Wen Liang while placing the basin on the table with his back to him. However, Cheng Shan did not respond. As soon as she turned her head, Cheng Shan knelt down in front of her, pleading for help to save Ming Kai. Wen Liang did not know what he was going to do. Cheng Shan said that from the first moment he saw her shoulders, he knew that her body craftsman skills far exceeded his own. Wen Liang intended to pretend that she didn't understand what he was talking about. Cheng Shan directly exposed her. Your shoulders should have just been repaired. Your arms have new skin and flesh. Ming Kai also once said that she couldn't hear your breath. Presumably, your meridians are flowing very slowly. You are definitely the senior predecessor of the profound body craftsman method. Wen Liang finally stopped pretending, but said that with her abilities, she couldn't save Ming Kai's life. Cheng Shan knows that she must have a way. She asks her again, stating that as long as she can save Ming Kai, she is willing to agree to any conditions. Even if it costs her own life, she is willing to do it. Wen Liang did not expect this young person to be so determined. She sighed. I am not trying to make it difficult for you. My skills are not as good as yours. It's just that Miss Ming Kai's injuries are too severe and tricky. Even if you were to exchange one life for another, I still wouldn't be able to do it. After saying that, Wen Liang took out Ming Kai's sword and said that there might still be a way to save Ming Kai. Cheng Shan's hope was reignited, but he didn't know what Wen Liang meant by his words. Suddenly, Wen Liang started praising Cheng Shan's talent and exquisite skills. Cheng Shan modestly said that he only learned some trivial tricks. Cheng Shan realized that she was beating around the bush on purpose. She asked her to speak directly. Wen Liang said, Sir Cheng, have you heard of the casting body skill? This Cheng Shan really doesn't know. Wen Liang said it's from the 12th chapter of an ancient book. Cheng Shan was surprised. Not only did this woman know about the ancient book containing the body craftsman technique, but she also knew the content of the 12th chapter. Before Cheng Shan could think carefully, Wen Liang took out a packet of medicine from his sleeve. Use the body craftsman technique forcefully to maintain Ming Kai's life. The heart pulse is severely damaged, and if not treated promptly, it will be too late. Afraid it might leave a hidden disease. Let's take the medicine first and then discuss. Cheng Shan seemed hesitant and indecisive. Wen Liang continued, this herbal tea has a warm and nourishing nature. It will be very beneficial for your current physical condition. Cheng Shan let go of her guard. After drinking the herbal tea, she indeed felt that the qi and blood in her body had improved a lot. She expressed her thanks and then returned to the main topic, asking her to teach her the casting body skill. Wen Liang thought for a moment and said, this casting body skill is the 12th chapter of the ancient book on body craftsman technique passed down in your family. The casting body skill is a method to seize the power of heaven and earth, and to steal the cultivation of yin and yang. Using the bones of a body craftsman as a fuse, mixed with the flesh and blood of others, applying the body craftsman casting body skill, one can create a person like Nuwa. But the body craftsman is not a deity. The person created will have flaws. If more parts of the body craftsman are used, not only will the appearance be similar to the body craftsman, but even the thoughts and hearts will be in harmony. If it's not done in this way, not only will the resemblance be missing, but the person will not live long. But this method has already been lost. After when Liang finished speaking, Cheng Shan stood up in despair. His body couldn't stop shaking. He was about to ask Ming Kai if there was no hope left. Little did he know that when Liang said the casting body skill reappeared in the world 20 years ago, and this also involves a story. Several decades ago, two people followed a powerful person to practice the body craftsman method for 10 years. However, the junior disciple did not want to leave the mountain and integrate into society. But the master said that it was time for himself to retire. However, before retiring, he reminded the two that as body craftsmen, despite possessing exceptional skills, they need to repair the accumulated virtues of others. But all the conflicts and grudges in the world will find their way to them. Few in the profession of being a body craftsman can end well. Nevertheless, as a body craftsman, one must first be a good person before becoming a good craftsman. With good intentions in mind, after the master finished speaking, he called his junior into the room. The junior was very surprised. Shouldn't it be calling the senior brother instead? The master saw what he was thinking and asked the senior brother to wait outside. The junior still appeared hesitant. He only went in after the senior brother spoke up and told him to go in. When the junior brother came out, he found that the senior brother had already gone down the mountain without even saying goodbye to them. The master had anticipated this outcome long ago. He instructed the junior brother to also come down the mountain. As time passed, the junior brother roamed the world and met a beautiful woman. The two fell in love and later became husband and wife. Not long after, their master passed away. Only one junior disciple comes to sweep the tomb each year, but the senior disciple's figure is nowhere to be seen. The junior disciple knows that the senior disciple still holds on to his lingering attachment. His senior disciple, relying on the reputation of the body craftsman technique, became famous and entered the palace. He gained the appreciation of the former emperor. On the day of the Mid-Autumn Festival, the younger disciple was sitting at home admiring the moon. But he always felt that the moon on Mid-Autumn Festival wasn't round. In fact, he was thinking of his master and senior disciple. His wife came over to comfort him, saying that they would reunite with his master and senior disciple one day. The younger disciple asked if their son had fallen asleep. His wife replied that after eating a piece of mooncake noisily, he fell asleep. The younger disciple had a fatherly smile on his face. Just then, a man stumbled into their home. This person was his senior disciple. The senior disciple, covered in injuries, shouted for him to escape quickly. Following him was a large group of soldiers holding torches rushing in. The younger disciple quickly instructed the servants to carry the child and flee. Although the two disciples eventually escaped, the younger disciple, in his efforts to save his wife who was shot by stray arrows, lost a significant amount of blood and turned completely gray-haired overnight. However, in the end, he could not save his wife. The two of them fled together. They wandered around in circles and ended up back at their master's former residence. Returning to the old place, everything was the same, but the people had changed. The junior brother no longer wants to continue fleeing. He asked the senior brother what to say to him. Unexpectedly, the senior brother had nothing to say. The junior brother grabbed his collar and loudly questioned, "Do you really have nothing to say?" The senior brother knew very well what was going on, but pretended to be confused. The junior brother had no choice but to say it himself. "You left in a fit of anger back then. Even when the master passed away, you did not come back. Now that you've returned, it has caused the ruin and death of my family. What is the reason for all this?" The senior brother suddenly started to shiver and laughed coldly. After the laughter, he also untied years of knots in his heart. It turned out that the junior brother entered the sect later than him, but he was never able to surpass him in anything. He had always taken good care of the junior brother. However, in the end, the master unexpectedly passed on the inheritance to the junior brother. How ridiculous this is, he thought. He wanted to prove that his master's choice was wrong, but the so-called proof he obtained was inconclusive. It was not the outcome he had hoped for. The year he entered the palace, the son born to the beloved concubine of the previous emperor unfortunately passed away. He took off his right arm and used the casting body skill to revive Prince enro, turning an infant into a young man in an instant. The former emperor was extremely angry, believing that the emperor's son had been turned into a monster. From then on, he never recovered from his illness, and he was also convicted and thrown into the dungeon. Those who are cast by body craftsmen typically do not live past the age of 20. However, enro shares a deep connection with him and knows that there is an arm of the body craftsman in his body. He hopes that his senior brother can teach him the casting body skill to prolong his life. However, the senior brother is well aware that if he learns these skills, he will bring calamity to the world. Later, the previous emperor passed away. Enro inherited the throne, and the senior brother took the opportunity to escape from the capital. While fleeing, he encountered enro's men who were searching for him vigorously. Enro wanted to complete the body craftsman's 2 arms and learn the casting body skill. At the same time, he was also looking for his junior brother's whereabouts. That day, The officials had already found the junior brother's residence. The senior brother risked his life to go in and relay the message to him. However, he was still a step too late. After saying all this, the senior brother is preparing to turn himself in tomorrow. He will never again bring trouble to his junior brother. Afterward, the two of them arrived at the grave of their master and offered 3 sticks of incense to pay their respects to their master. The junior brother could tell from the incense that the omen was very ominous. In fact, the senior brother knew without looking at a divination that a great disaster was about to come. Junior apprentice asked 2 questions to the senior brother again. Senior brother, do you know why the master did not pass on the black umbrella technique to you? And why is the number of practitioners in our body craftsman lineage so few until now? Senior brother obviously doesn't know, but this is also what he has been wanting to know for many years. Junior brother then recounted the master's original words to him. In the past, there was a talented body craftsman. Under his leadership, the descendants of the body craftsmen prospered. At one point, their power was immense, and it even threatened the emperor's rule. So the emperor issued an edict, leading to mass harm to the body craftsmen. Those remaining went into hiding from then on. The master had intended to pass on the black umbrella to senior brother. However, the master said that senior brother was too aggressive and feared repeating the mistakes of their predecessors. Therefore, the master could only entrust the black umbrella to me for now. Once you become more stable and composed, then the black umbrella can be passed on to you. After listening to junior brother's words, senior brother suddenly woke up to reality, but regret came too late. He understood that junior brother spoke these words today as a final instruction, saying it was not worth it for him to do so. Junior brother also said it's not just for his sake. If he is caught, Enro will definitely continue to hunt him down. In addition, with his beloved wife gone, junior brother also has no intention of living a meaningless life. But he wants senior brother to find his own son. Using his own bones and blood, he created himself and his wife, accompanying him until he became an adult. Senior brother immediately vowed that even if he died, he would definitely accomplish it. After he left with junior brother's arms, the soldiers had already arrived at the door. Junior brother sacrificed himself to fulfill senior brother's wish. But Enro did not obtain the black umbrella, nor did she get the other arm of the body craftsman. In a fit of anger, he issued an imperial edict. Rewarding heavily to all under heaven, he puts out a wanted notice for his senior brother. Senior brother is on the run. He has been searching for the son of his junior brother during the escape. He did not disappoint his efforts and finally found him. And the son of the junior brother is Cheng Shan. The senior brother found a house. Using casting body skill, he created Cheng Shan's parents. They accompanied him as he grew up and taught him the ways of the body craftsman. Later, the palace happened to be selecting palace maids. The senior brother transformed into a woman's body and was chosen, and gained his trust. This maidservant is Wen Liang. The emperor accidentally learned of the whereabouts of Cheng Shan and is ready to capture him. Wen Liang is trying to protect the only remaining bloodline of his younger martial brother. The proposal is to just remove Cheng Shan's left arm. This is why the story begins. Cheng Shan's father said that this arm is the price of his life. After hearing this secret, Cheng Shan was stunned for a long time. He didn't know what to say. Wen Liang knew that he might not be able to accept this fact for a while. Let him have a good rest and sort things out first. Cheng Shan shook his head, saying that Ming Kai couldn't wait that long. He once again implored Wen Liang to use the casting body skill to save Ming Kai. Wen Liang said that she is no longer at the ability user house, but went to Enro's treasure house. Cheng Shan is furious. By now, how could he not know? This is clearly deliberate by Wen Liang. Wen Liang said she still has a chance to save Ming Kai. After all, there are many body craftsmen in the world, but there is only one body craftsman with the black umbrella, Cheng Shan. Then she mentioned the teapot. She told Cheng Shan that Enro invited him to the royal study tomorrow. Then she poured all the tea on the floor. The tea seems to be bidding farewell to Cheng Shan. When the tea was poured out, Wen Liang finally revealed her true intention. As long as you are willing to help me tomorrow, I might be able to help you save that girl. Being played like this, Cheng Shan wishes to kill Wen Liang right now. But for Ming Kai, he is willing to give up everything. Saints and demons, let others say what they want. Anyway, I am both saint and demon. I only tell you. When Cheng Shan arrived at the royal study carrying the black umbrella on his back, he greeted Eunuch Lu outside the door with thanks. Eunuch Lu reminded him not to make the emperor unhappy. As he brushed past him again, Cheng Shan saw that the family crest on his collar was unexpectedly the same as the body craftsman Lu family. Without giving him time to think about it, he walked in. Enro had been waiting on the throne for a long time. After that, he took Cheng Shan to visit the treasures he collected in the royal study. He promised that Cheng Shan could choose any of these treasures as long as she helped him with some tasks. Cheng Shan naturally wouldn't want them. These things are all man-made. Enro patted his shoulder and said as a body craftsman, Simply repairing the human body would be underusing one's talents. Cheng Shan asked for his opinions. Enro sneered. Pointing at those clay pots, he said, "Those disobedient people. If all of them are beaten into pulp by me and put in here, isn't this the great cause that will last for all eternity? This is the true work of a body craftsman." Enro's words are simply tarnishing the name of the body craftsman. A puppet made by a body craftsman should not seek eternal glory. Although Cheng Shan may think so, he is only pretending to flatter his words. Then he took Cheng Shan to admire his collection of human face skins. They saw face after face, each one embedded with compartments planted with flowers and plants. When Cheng Shan saw one of the faces, she felt like she had fallen into an ice cave in an instant. He couldn't suppress the trembling of his whole body. His heart was filled with boundless anger. Because of this abnormally eerie face. It is his Mingkai. Cheng Shan stared blankly at this face. Enro thought he really liked it. Proudly said, "It has just been done. Still very fresh. If you like it, you can give it to him." After Enro's words, Cheng Shan didn't hear it. At this moment, Cheng Shan's mind was full of memories of Mingkai. The body craftsman can repair the body, but cannot repair the heart. They can repair millions of people, but cannot repair all the people in the world. This tyrant should end it with his own hands. He took out the black umbrella. Pointing at him, he sternly questioned, "Enro, do you know right from wrong?" Enro sneered and said, "Cheng Shan, I thought you were exceptionally clever. How could you still believe in the concepts of right and wrong? It seems that you are just an ordinary person." As soon as he finished speaking, the black umbrella opened. Instantly, the abundant vitality in the room was absorbed by the black umbrella. Faces began to melt. Before Cheng Shan could close the umbrella, all beings in the study disappeared. Enro questioned him, Cheng Shan, by killing so many people in the study, do you think you have done a good deed?" "You are wrong, Enro. Only mediocre people believe in right and wrong. I only focus on causes and consequences." Cheng Shan finished speaking, then heard the chaotic footsteps outside the study. He doesn't have much time left. His voice cold, he continued, "Enro, it's within your ability to kill many people in the world. But you killed my parents, killed Mingkai, and took my left hand. These are the reasons you sowed. Today's outcome is the consequence," Enro said calmly. He shamelessly claimed that he would teach Cheng Shan the etiquette expected of a loyal subject. However, Cheng Shan did not want to listen to him. Instead, he taught Enro what proper etiquette and manners meant. "I, Cheng Shan, am the only descendant of the Cheng family. The millions of subjects you harmed and buried deep underground, including my parents and Mingkai's dead. Today, I will make you repay them all," Cheng Shan declared. As he spoke, a chilling aura of killing intent kept emanating from his body. At this moment, the guards had arrived behind him. Restrained by the fact that he possessed the black umbrella, they did not dare to approach him. But they had already prepared archers. Countless arrows shot towards him in an instant. Cheng Shan neither avoided nor opened an umbrella. He just looked at Enro with a cold smile. This smile made Enro feel afraid. The arrow quickly pierced Cheng Shan's body. Badly wounded, he knelt on the ground. Enro finally let go of his guard and walked up to him. Approaching his ear, she said, "Black umbrella can't save you. Only I can save you." Cheng Shan laughed heartily. "Enro, do you think you can save me?" At that moment, Cheng Shan unexpectedly reached out his left hand and pressed it against Enro's face. Even at the brink of death, Enro was concerned about where Cheng Shan's left hand came from. As the body craftsman technique was applied, Enro's body visibly withered. At the moment of death, Enro actually shed a tear. Cheng Shan finds it laughable. A puppet actually shed tears for its own failure. Cheng Shan's left arm very quickly transformed into strands of blood chi and injected into Enro's body. And that left arm is Wanliang. Before Cheng Shan came, according to Wanliang's plan, he turned him into a left arm and attached it to his own body. Enro revived once again. However, beneath this appearance is Wanliang. Seeking revenge, Cheng Shan also sees through the world. He even wants to give his right arm to Wanliang. Without even looking, Wanliang replied, "I have already taken back my own right hand. What use do I have for yours?" Under Wanliang's control, a substitute sacrificed his life for Cheng Shan. When the dust settles, Cheng Shan prepares to leave the palace. Wanliang stops him and says, "If you want to stay, I promise you wealth and honor." Cheng Shan said he was tired. Then he held the painting that Mingkai had made before and left without looking back. Before leaving, he left a sentence, "Senior Wanliang, I hope you will treat the world well." Wanliang chuckled. "May this world also treat me kindly." Cheng Shan carried the scroll and set off on the way back home. He walked until he got tired and sat down by a pond to rest. Suddenly, a noise came from behind. It turned out to be the leader of the mountain bandits again. The bandit leader greeted Cheng Shan with a smile. Seeing him, he couldn't help but ask curiously. Cheng Shan said, Let's just say it's stained by snow. The bandits knew Cheng Shan didn't want to talk much, so they kindly reminded him that the palace had issued an order to capture a young man carrying a long tube. Cheng Shan asked if the messenger was eunuch Lu, but how could the little bandits know? At this moment, the scroll in Cheng Shan's arms is trembling slightly. The bandits no longer bother him. They said they would meet again and then left. Cheng Shan noticed a moment of change in the painting when it was unraveled. Glittering starlight overflowed from the scroll. Suddenly, a pleasant female voice came from the tree. 1,000 kinds of holy and 1,000 kinds of demonic. Let others say what they want. Cheng Shan looked up and saw Ming Kai sitting in the tree. The girl smiled and asked, "How do I look? Do I look good?" Cheng Shan asked Ming Kai, "Are you not just an artist?" But the girl said, "You have a family heirloom. I also have it." Cheng Shan, do you still remember your family motto? Cheng Shan naturally remembers. It's just that the letter has been replaced by Wen Liang. The contents of the letter. Wen Liang had told Cheng Shan before going to assassinate enro. Now only this jade is left. The girl jumped down. Do you want to hear my ancient teaching? Before he could speak, the girl continued. Encounter danger with a cloak. Reach a state to right. See an old friend and bring out the jade. The two pieces of jade from both people combined into a complete piece. It turns out that the two people are each other's old friends. Was this arranged long ago? Ming Kai touched his cheek. It's because my pen can only draw souls. Although your body is old, luckily your soul is still very young. Ming Kai returned. He was originally overjoyed. But then he thought that she was just a soul, which made him feel sad again. Ming Kai took off the white cloak he was wearing and said it was a treasure passed down in her family that could preserve her soul, not dispersing nor being invaded by evil energy. She was still waiting for Cheng Shan to make a body for herself one day. When Cheng Shan heard this, he firmly disagreed. Casting a body goes against the laws of nature. The little girl laughed and teased him, calling him a blockhead. I paint souls, men's souls. I am a soul craftsman. You cast bodies, repair bodies. You are a body craftsman. Both of us are condemned by the heavens. How can it be considered against the laws of nature? Cheng Shan doesn't believe there is such a profession as soul craftsman in this world. Because Ming Kai just mentioned soul words. Does he, as a body craftsman, also have to come up with a set of body words to follow suit? Ming Kai doesn't care whether he believes it or not. With his forehead against his forehead, he said, in any case, I only talk to you, whether holy or demonic. There are many body craftsmen in the world. Only Cheng Shan holds the black umbrella. There are many soul craftsmen in the world. Only Ming Kai wears the white cloak. I thought the two of them would withdraw from the world. However, fate eventually entangled them once again in this mysterious whirlpool of events. A new story is about to begin. In the third year of the Great Han calendar, the most precious treasure of the imperial palace was stolen. This treasure is a forbidden object, and if it appears in the world, it could bring endless disasters and calamities to humanity. Emperor Enro was furious and mobilized the entire nation's forces to pursue the thief. On the 10th day of the pursuit, the whereabouts of the thief were finally pinpointed. The coachman on this carriage is indeed the thief. The palace guards have long been waiting in ambush at the top of the mountain. The thief seems to have sensed the impending danger. The leader of the guards on the mountain gives the order. Several figures have already intercepted the group of horsemen. Get off quickly for inspection. Temporary inspection in Great Han Country North County. Non-cooperation will result in immediate execution. After speaking, the leader revealed the Hong token. A voice came from nowhere. Do you think you are worthy of killing on the spot? The guards instantly felt a great threat. Suddenly, the thief appeared behind the leader of the guards like a ghost. While the thief was strangling the leader of the guards, the leader realized that this person was extremely dangerous. He quickly ordered his subordinates to escape, but it was all too late. A black umbrella suddenly appeared before everyone. The moment the umbrella opened, everyone turned into blood in an instant. Isn't this Cheng Shan's black umbrella? How did it end up in the palace? Why was it stolen again? All the mysteries are waiting to be unraveled, and the scene changes. A stick dipped in sugar is teasing an ant, but the ant just won't take the bait. The girl who is teasing the ant looks towards the man beside her. Cheng Shan, this ant is so strange. It won't even eat the sugar. Cheng Shan is speechless. You are the strange one. On a sunny day, who else but Ming Kai would be holding an umbrella? The sun is so strong. This girl can't afford to get a tan. It won't look good like that, Ming Kai just said. Cheng Shan then took the umbrella from her hand to take care of little Ming Kai. It's my duty as a man. Just as Ming Kai was about to be moved to tears, Cheng Shan suddenly chuckled. After all, he was a little shorty. Ming Kai instantly exploded. I'm not short. What nonsense are you saying, you one-armed monkey? Cheng Shan just wanted to make a joke. Why did this girl suddenly get so angry? I had to coax her as we walked, and before long, Ming Kai stood on a pile of rocks. She pointed happily ahead and said, There is Yi City. Yi City is the liveliest city in the southwest region of Great Hong Country. Cheng Shan really wants to go sightseeing there. Ming Kai jumped off the pile of rocks and said indifferently, "We have traveled to many places. Have we seen few lively places?" But Cheng Shan feels that there will always be something different. At this moment, a couple holding a baby is walking towards them. As the couple brushes past them, Ming Kai notices that the woman is looking anxiously at the baby in her arms. They hadn't gone far when the woman's voice reached them. "Little baby, don't scare mommy. If you die, we won't be able to live. My child." The baby in the mother's arms trembles, showing a pained expression. Cheng Shan walked over with Ming Kai. "May I ask what happened to your child?" The woman said, "The child had heart problems when he was born. It seems he may not make it through." Cheng Shan immediately offered to help treat the child. Ming Kai also chimed in, saying that her husband is very skilled. After all, they were strangers. The couple seemed hesitant, but they agreed in the end for the sake of the child. After the baby was laid flat on the ground, Cheng Shan told them not to worry, but he warned them that no matter what they saw later, they shouldn't be afraid, let alone make any noise. So what happened next? Years later, Cheng Shan is about to use the skills of the body craftsman again. Can he fix this poor baby? As Cheng Shan's fingers approached the little baby, strands of vitality swirled around his fingers. Just as the couple was panicked and at a loss, little treasure, Cheng Shan's finger has already penetrated into the baby's heart. Sure. Fortunately, Ming Kai is next to him explaining nonstop. The couple didn't interrupt his casting process. Upon seeing the small heart held in Cheng Shan's hand, the woman fainted in fear. Cheng Shan spoke, asking them to be quiet. "Do not disturb him as he is healing." I only saw Cheng Shan kneeling on the ground. The blood chi in the air gathered towards the little heart in his hand. This is part of Cheng's body craftsman technique, involving techniques such as dismantling tendons, moving bones, changing skin, shaping, and so on. A perfect little heart formed instantly. After Cheng Shan restored the heart back into the baby's body, the baby immediately began breathing smoothly. The complexion became rosy. He finally breathed out a sigh of relief. In the end, he did not live up to the reputation of a body craftsman. The baby, who had returned to normal, immediately started crying loudly. This was the typical behavior of a normal baby. The couple then knelt down in gratitude. Cheng Shan quickly told them to get up and reminded them not to mention today's events to anyone else under any circumstances. Cheng Shan thought that the baby, who had just recovered from a serious illness, still needed to recuperate. He suggested that they follow him to Yi City together. The husband and wife are originally from Yi City. They were delayed for 3 days because of the child's situation. Today, they finally left Yi City. Because Yi City is not peaceful, they advised Cheng Shan not to go there. It's better to leave quickly. Cheng Shan didn't take it seriously. He has seen too many things that are not peaceful. After saying goodbye to this couple, Cheng Shan suddenly fell silent. Ming Kai seemed to sense what he was thinking. "Cheng Shan, you haven't trained people for a long time, right? A little out of practice. I remember last time you forged my body, right? Were you nervous just now?" "Just a little bit." Previously, Cheng Shan used to talk a lot when nervous. Nowadays, they talk less. However, this does not affect their joy of going into the city soon. Arriving at Yi City, night has fallen. The city is brightly lit and bustling with extraordinary liveliness. He previously mentioned being accustomed to liveliness. However, Ming Kai is still extremely excited. Seeing cute dolls to buy, delicious candied fruits to buy. Even if her hands are already full, she still wants to continue buying. Indeed, shopping is a woman's nature. Cheng Shan promptly grabbed the restless girl, because he noticed someone seemed to be watching them. After being reminded by Cheng Shan, Ming Kai was very unhappy. She shouted coquettishly at the people around her. "What are you looking at? There's nothing interesting about this girl shopping." Ming Kai asked Cheng Shan in a low voice, "Don't you think the people here are very strange?" Cheng Shan smiled. "Perhaps they also think we are strange," he replied. Ming Kai picked up his sleeve and sighed. "Yes, a one-armed oddball with a delicate lady. What a strange combination." After saying that, Ming Kai bounced forward and ran ahead. Cheng Shan noticed that she had tied a butterfly knot with his sleeve and hurried to catch up. The two quickly arrived at an inn. Cheng Shan ordered 2 bowls of clear noodle soup. After taking a seat, Ming Kai felt that the people in the store were very strange, but couldn't quite put his finger on it. At this moment, a man and a woman walked into the inn. The waiter immediately approached them warmly and greeted them. Ming Kai couldn't help but make a sarcastic comment when he saw the two of them. One tall, one short, one older, one younger, one sturdy, one slender. They seemed to be like a couplet alive. This peculiar remark gave Cheng Shan a headache. Although Ming Kai spoke in a low voice, it was obvious that both of them heard it. The couple simply sat down at the table with them. After ordering 2 bowls of beef noodles, he still politely said, "Sorry, let me squeeze in a bit," Ming Kai muttered quietly. Why are you squeezing in with us when there are so many seats? Cheng Shan quietly responded, It's because you talk too much. Mingkai was about to pour Cheng Shan a cup of tea. The woman snorted coldly. Then, she slapped the table hard with one hand. The chopsticks flew out of the container with a sound. She closed her eyes and flicked her finger. A chopstick shot quickly towards the cup in Cheng Shan's hand. Mingkai exclaimed, Be careful, and the woman smirked complacently. The cup was shattered by the chopstick and fell to the ground. Mingkai nervously asked him if he was hurt. Why didn't you catch the chopsticks, Cheng Shan? He asked with a silly expression on his face. I only have one hand, Cheng Shan replied. The woman let out another grunt when she heard that. Mingkai's quick temper flared up. Pointing at the woman, he started cursing, Damn it!
Stinky brat.
We have no grievances against you. What are you trying to do? You tell me. It's not very impressive to bully someone who only has one hand. Cheng Shan hid to the side and wiped his face with his sleeve. The atmosphere was truly awkward. The man finally stood up to mediate, advising the two not to be angry. It was just a joke. Then he criticized the woman for joking too rudely. The woman retorted nonchalantly, Who asked them to mock me behind my back? With these words, Mingkai instantly lost her temper. But then she used the man's words to respond, I was just joking. Who knew you were so petty? Seeing the atmosphere relax, the man laughed heartily and said, Traveling far and wide over the years, this is the first time I've heard someone describe us with couplets. Quite amusing, Cheng Shan replied with a smile. Indeed, our words were reckless first. My apologies, my apologies. But there was absolutely no sarcasm intended, he paused. Cheng Shan continued, It's just that the two of you are so well matched, it struck a chord. The man and woman blushed at the same time. The woman pointed to her head. We are not well matched anywhere, especially here. According to what you said, one is foolish, the other wise. The man repeatedly admitted, It's me. I'm foolish, I'm foolish. These two people also seem to be an interesting pair. This also counts as meeting by chance. The man clasped his fists and smiled, saying, I haven't asked how to address both of you yet. Cheng Shan and Mingkai exchanged a glance. Cheng Shan then smiled and said, My name is Shancheng. She is called Kaiming. We are passing through here to enjoy the mountains and rivers. The man also introduced himself as Kong Ling and the woman as Ajin. Both of them came from the capital for business. At this time, the waiter walked over carrying 4 bowls of noodles. Upon seeing Kong Ling, there were 2 bowls of beef noodles on his side. Here on his own side, there was only a clear soup noodle. Mingkai couldn't help but make a sarcastic comment, while Cheng Shan laughed and comforted him, Your health isn't good. Eat less oily and greasy food. Afterwards, the 4 of them started eating at the same time. The result was that after the first bite, they were all stunned as if struck by lightning. Then the 2 women were furious at the same time. My God, is this pig feed? What kind of chef is this? It's simply murder. Kong Ling also spoke up. I can't believe there is such terrifying dark cuisine. Cheng Shan also had a disgusted look on his face, as if he wanted to vomit. The waiter hurried over to express apologies and offered to remake the dishes for them. The waiter had just brought the noodles into the kitchen when someone grabbed his hand. It turned out to be the boss. The boss asked the waiter if there was anything suspicious about those 4 people. The waiter said he hadn't noticed anything special for the moment. The boss told him not to be careless and to keep watching closely. Then the boss finally asked about the noodles. The waiter sighed and said they were all a bunch of rough people. How could they make noodles? It seems that this is not simple. Later, the few people ate a second bowl of noodles. They were standing on the second floor chatting, and Ajin looked angry. This second bowl of noodles still tastes like dishwater. It makes me angry to eat. Mingkai replied without hesitation. Could it be a unique flavor from the southwestern region? After another round of complaints, the 4 people each went to their own rooms. Although there was some unpleasantness before, after spending some time together, Mingkai finds Ajin quite cute. Cheng Shan, however, is not in the same mindset. His gaze is fixed on the boss and waiters on the first floor. The 2 of them seem to be plotting something. Right at this moment, the chef rushed over. Excuse me, there's news, it's for tonight. The boss immediately interrupted him. He led them out of the hall. Mingkai's voice came from behind. What are you looking at? Cheng Shan replied with nothing. In fact, he had already sensed that there was something wrong with this inn. However, he didn't want Mingkai to worry by following along. That night, Cheng Shan had another nightmare. In the dream, he kept walking under the guidance of a lantern. Suddenly, many people were calling his name. Then the lantern shattered, plunging the surroundings into darkness. Cheng Shan asked anxiously, Who is talking? The voice sounded again. Cheng Shan, we are the sins burdening you. It's all because of you. At the same time, black lines locked his body. Cheng Shan suddenly shouted angrily, Get out of here! There was a loud sound and black lines dissipated. He was breathing heavily. As he picked up his head, he found the black umbrella appearing out of nowhere in front of his eyes. He reached out to grab it. The eerie voice let out a cold laugh. The black thread once again flashed and took away the black umbrella. A demon-like figure holding the black umbrella appeared. Have you forgotten? The black umbrella no longer belongs to you. When Cheng Shan woke up, Mingkai was looking at him with concern. Did you have a nightmare? It must be because you've been exhausted from traveling recently. Cheng Shan stood up. Walk to the window and look outside. Somehow, ever since he entered Yi City, he always felt uneasy. Mingkai asked him what he was looking at. Cheng Shan said he was looking at the fireworks. Watching the hustle and bustle of life can put his mind at ease. Mingkai doesn't understand. He just thinks this guy suddenly has so many emotions. He should stop overthinking and go back to sleep quickly. What they don't know is that these people outside and the inn's people are all together. Surroundings are also ambushed by many people. Who are these people? Is there something major happening in Yi City tonight? And at this moment, a carriage arrived outside the gates of Yi City. Seated on the front carriage was a man. This man is none other than the thief who stole the black umbrella. What is he doing in Yi City? A gust of wind blew. A blood-red moon emerged. It seems tonight Yi City is destined to be restless. When Cheng Shan and Mingkai walked out of the inn the next day, they were stunned by the scene before their eyes. A group of crows on the bare branches emitted frightening calls. The entire street has become dilapidated beyond recognition. There is not a trace of human presence. I recalled the lively scene from last night, but now there is not a soul in sight. Mingkai even thought that this was a joke, but this joke is not funny. Cheng Shan and the other two explored all the way. People on the street, people in the inn, and all the people in the city disappeared out of thin air. A fearful atmosphere instantly permeated the entire Yi City. Cheng Shan touched the already cold buns. Muttering to himself, aren't we both humans? Mingkai gave him an elbow. This joke is not funny either. Mingkai suspected that they had entered a ghost town. Could it be that they saw ghosts last night? Cheng Shan needs to quickly take her away from here. However, Cheng Shan is staring at something on the ground in a trance. Mingkai also looked over curiously. It seemed to be a puddle of water, but the shape looked like a person falling on the ground. Mingkai reached out to touch and see what it really was. Cheng Shan smelled a faint scent. Immediately stop her. Don't touch it. This is not water. Mingkai asked cautiously, if it's not water, then what is it? This should be the corpse water left behind after the human body has been corroded. Someone died. Cheng Shan had just finished speaking, and Mingkai was shocked. Have all the people here died? At this moment, Cheng Shan heard the sound of footsteps coming from a distance. He quickly reached out to catch Mingkai. Squatting down, he hid behind the stall. Just as Mingkai was about to scream, he covered her mouth. A group of people just walked in front of the stall. They appear to be the imperial guards from the palace. The man leading them suddenly stopped and asked, "Are there any survivors?" The two people hiding behind were startled by the words. Could this group of people be the murderers? The sergeant behind the man reported, "General Lam, there doesn't seem to be any living person inside the city. We haven't seen a single dead body either." General Lam immediately ordered, "Living people must be seen, and dead people must be shown the bodies." The soldiers dispersed to conduct a citywide search. The rest are General Lam and that officer. From their continuing conversation, Cheng Shan finally learned about the strange happenings in Yi City last night. It turns out that the people of Yi City had been evacuated long ago. The palace sent 20,000 elite soldiers disguised as the residents. 20,000 elite soldiers? To go to such lengths just to ambush one person, Cheng Shan is shocked. Who could be so formidable to require such a massive preparation of troops? The two people in front continued their conversation. General Lam, in the past half-month, we have already lost almost half of our troops. In my opinion, it would be best to return to the capital to report to the emperor. Returning empty-handed. Do you want to lose your head? The soldier under me broke out in a cold sweat. Summoning up the courage again, he dared to ask who the thief was. To think they could steal things from the palace. Upon hearing that sentence, Cheng Shan had a vaguely bad premonition. General Lam looked at the officer with a cold expression and said, "You talk too much." The officer was startled, with his hair standing on end. At this moment, a soldier came to report to the general. The tracks of the thieves were found. There are traces of wheels at the west gate of Yi City, heading west. Wait for this group of people to move further away. Mingkai waved his arms a bit. He did not understand why they were acting so suspiciously, as if they had stolen something. After all, they had done nothing wrong. Cheng Shan replied, "There are only the two of us left alive here. How can this be explained clearly?" Mingkai thought to himself. She then remembered the interesting couple Jin and Kong Ling. But upon second thought, she wondered why those skilled martial artists had disappeared. Why were she and Cheng Shan unharmed? And this is exactly what Cheng Shan is worried about. Because in this world, it can make people vanish into thin air and leave no trace of their bodies, yet it spares nothing belonging to him and Ming Kai. It's the black umbrella of the Cheng family. Initially, Cheng Shan helped Wen Liang to seize the body of Ing Rui, fearing that people around the world would covet the powerful abilities of the black umbrella. He then handed over the black umbrella to Wang Liang, thinking that leaving it in the palace should be the safest way. Now it seems that Cheng Shan was wrong. Where in this world is truly safe? The two of them followed General Lam's army all the way. When they arrived at the gate of Yi City, they found that the city had been sealed off. This was trouble. The two people were unable to leave the city. Ming Kai happened to notice something across the street. There were two soldiers queuing to collect water. She tugged at Cheng Shan's sleeve. Then she leaned in and whispered an idea in his ear. It could only be accomplished by him. The scene shifted. General Lam's large army has already left Yi City. Take a closer look. Isn't that short person holding the military flag Ming Kai? In front of her is Cheng Shan, looking on with a smile. The two took the opportunity to leave the team. They changed back into their original outfits. What's going on? It turns out that 1 hour ago, Cheng Shan knocked down the two soldiers watering on the opposite side and stripped off their clothes to disguise themselves as local soldiers. This is the plan that Ming Kai had thought of earlier. But as a body craftsman, Cheng Shan experienced a work-related illness before leaving. He took the opportunity to repair both of them. This matter nearly exposed them at that time. Ming Kai patted his head and asked, "Why do you need repairs?" They made a huge profit in a big way. Cheng Shan smiled and said, "The original intention of the body craftsman is to have good intentions. Besides, this is just a small favor. In return, he can only fix their bodies. Besides, Cheng Shan has already predicted that this group of soldiers will go there." The two of them watched the army depart into the distance. Ming Kai saw that he seemed very worried. He suggested whether they should catch up with them. Perhaps they could be of help. Cheng Shan, however, does not want to go. Ming Kai further suggested, what if it has something to do with Black Umbrella? Upon hearing the words Black Umbrella, his eyes dimmed. Have you forgotten? Cheng Shan and Ming Kai were long dead. Moreover, Black Umbrella no longer belongs to me. Why bother meddling in others' affairs? He patted Ming Kai's head and said, moreover, we have more important matters to attend to. Ming Kai held his hand and said, Cheng Shan, don't I know you yet? Your family's rules are all about being kind and having a good heart.